Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel. Either way, we are always bringing you good content, or at least I hope. This is the SmackDown review for the 11th of February 2022. As with most SmackDown shows, there's nothing here that anyone really needs to see. It's a decent enough show, but the fact that it's on network television has me completely lost. There's some good things in the show, but for the most part, it's a throwaway, or at the very least, if we want to be nicer, it's a bit of a just kind of show to fill time to complete quality control of completing contracts. It's not a show that anyone needs to see on a consistent basis. Anyway, we go there with the SmackDown results. I mean, there are some things because it's WrestleMania season that are better than normal, but women's title match Goldberg appearing would be, I guess, your major points. Then we open the show. They recapped Ronda Rousey Charlotte Flair segment from last week because we don't have enough content to fill shows without recaps. Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary tonight. Cole notes Pat McCaffrey is at the Super Bowl this weekend. Then Sonya Deville comes out for an opening segment. Sonya Deville says George standing in the ring starts SmackDown. She recaps Ronda Rousey attacking her last week. However, Deville doesn't care if Rousey's or Naomi. There will be consequences and announce that she's fining Rousey $100,000 and suspending her indefinitely. Adam Pearce interrupts and read an email from Mr. McMahon. McMahon claimed that he hates officials that abuse their power. McMahon declined Deville's petition to suspend Rousey. He added that Deville couldn't lay a hand on Naomi if Deville interferes in the main event, then her job is in serious jeopardy. Naomi makes her way to the ring. She points out that McMahon said Deville couldn't lay a hand on her. She never said anything about Naomi laying a hand on Deville, and slaps her in the face. I mean, it's kind of goofy because the babyface is acting like a heel. Anyway, Los Lotharios defeat the New Day 10-21. New Day and Lotharios have a decent enough match. They recap New Day defeating Los Lotharios last week. Didn't even know this was a big enough feud. In the back, Kayla Braxton interviews Los Lotharios. She calls them two of the most handsome men in WWE. They promise to win because they were lethal lovers. The ring announcer referred to them as lethal lovers. Los Lotharios. Try to say that 3 times fast. Los Lotharios introduce the kiss cam and kissed a woman in the front row on her cheek. New Day has an early advantage. Lotharios take over. They isolate Kofi Kingston in the corner, but Kingston fights back. Big E then hits a big splash on Humberto on the apron. Angel then tries to get involved, but Big E sends him to the floor. Big E launches Kingston over the top rope and out to the floor. Back from the break, the heels are in control. Big E recovers and catches Angel with a belly-to-belly suplex. Kingston and Humberto get the tag at the same time. Kingston then runs wild and sends Angel to the floor. He follows up with a boom drop on Humberto. Kingston went for trouble in paradise, but Humberto avoids it. Big E and Kingston goes for midnight hour, but Angel attacks Kingston. Kingston then catches Angel with a Rana off the apron. New Day then hit a power bomb, double foot stomp. Humberto gets a near fall. Lotharios regains control. Angel hits a moonsault on the floor on Big E, and Humberto hits a moonsault on Kingston for another near fall. Kingston follows up and catches Humberto with Trouble in Paradise. Finish comes when Kingston goes for the sunset flip. Angel reverses and rolls him up for the win. A decent enough match and not a bad thing. In the back, Megan Morant tries to interview the Viking Raiders. Usos jump the Raiders from behind. Roman Reigns sit down and interview. Michael Cole interviews Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman in the back. They recapped Heyman explaining the reasons he turned on Brock Lesnar and Goldberg's return. Cole mentioned the last week they featured the return of the icon. Heyman assumed he was talking about him. Cole explained he was talking about Goldberg. Cole listens off Goldberg's accomplishments, winning streak in WCW. Reigns responded to everyone would be winning in WCW because they'd still be in business if it was actually worth anything. Then we go to Cole noting Goldberg beating Brock Lesnar at the Survivor Series a few years ago. Reigns then said Lesnar's old news and mocked him. Cole mentioned that Reigns versus Goldberg was supposed to happen 2 years ago. At WrestleMania, Reigns promised to smash Goldberg at the Elimination Chamber, added he was going to Goldberg. Fine segment, but honestly, does anyone really care about Roman Reigns and Goldberg at this point? Dungeon style match. Natalya defeats Aaliyah 241. They have a okay match, I guess. They recapped Aaliyah defeating Natalya in previous weeks. Cole and Graves pushed that Aaliyah's embarrassed Natalya the last few weeks. Natalya has enough of an early advantage with a side headlock. Aaliyah then fights back and blows a kiss to Natalya. Natalya then quickly regains control and hits a Michinoku driver for a near fall. Aaliyah recovers and hits a Thez press, follows up with a bulldog for near fall. Aaliyah locks on a half grab, but then Natalya fights out, locks on the sharpshooter. Aaliyah makes the ropes. However, breaks don't count, so Aaliyah taps out. After the match, Natalya continues to attack Aaliyah until Xia Li makes the save. Rock narrates a touching video about Rocky Johnson celebrating Black History Month. Fans break into Rocky chant. In Zayn's segment with Sami Zayn earlier today, Johnny Knoxville wrote loser on Sami Zayn poster and ripped up Sami Zayn's Forever t-shirt. Zayn claimed he'd not let Knoxville's actions get to him. He's going to turn his attention to the Intercontinental title match with Shinsuke Nakamura next week. He's going to focus on his podcast, Rick Boogs Interrupts, and introduce Nakamura. Zayn is surprised that Nakamura showed up for the podcast because he's been ducking Zayn for weeks. Nakamura asked Zayn if he'd seen the movie, Johnny Knoxville's movies, assuming he meant Jackass Forever. Instead, Nakamura said next week's movie called Jackass Defeated, and then Zayn becomes angry. He points out that he used to be Nakamura's corner, but now he has Boogs. Zayn then mocks Boogs. Boogs yells at his opponent, or future opponent here. They recap Drew McIntyre hitting the Claymore kick on Madcap Moss last week. In the back, Moss decided not to be in Corbin's corner because of his injuries. Moss adds that he's going to try and get out of facing McIntyre at the Elimination Chamber. They show a billboard for the Saudi Arabia show, which, who cares? Anyway, Happy Corbin defeats Cesaro. Corbin and Cesaro have an okay match, I guess, although why Corbin would defeat Cesaro when Cesaro's got 10 times more talent. They join the match in progress, so I guess the match doesn't matter. Cesaro has an early advantage. Corbin quickly takes over. He shows the pace down with chinlock. Cesaro fights back, but Corbin hits the deep six for near fall. Corbin placed Cesaro in a situation, hitting a tope, but fights back with suplex. Cesaro avoids being around the ring post clothesline, and then Corbin goes to the floor. He follows up with a running uppercut against the barricade. Cesaro then hits a springboard uppercut for another near fall. Cesaro rocks Corbin with a boot to the face, but Corbin bounced back off the middle ropes and with a clothesline follows up with the end of days for the win. In the back, Madcap Moss speaks with a doctor in the trainer's room. Moss tries to convince the doctor to cancel his match with McIntyre at the Elimination Chamber. McIntyre shows up with Angelica and forces Moss to change his mind, and then McIntyre reveals his match is now Falls Count Anywhere. Goldberg sit-down interview. Michael Cole interviews Goldberg in the back. Cole then claims that there are rumors that Goldberg is making one too many returns. Goldberg rejects the rumors and notes that he's still the same Goldberg. They discuss WrestleMania match that didn't happen 2 years ago. Cole mentioned Reigns, said that there's promise there, and then he laughs. He promised to beat Reigns and face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, which would be the third time they faced off. Time for the main event, which actually was a good segment. Flair and Naomi have a really decent match. 19 minutes, 49 seconds. They both work hard and tell a good story. Fans are into the match and go crazy for Ronda Rousey running in at the end. They recap the Sonya Deville-Naomi saga. Flair's in control early, catches Naomi with a shoulder tackle. Flair celebrates, but Naomi jumps up to her feet, catches Flair with a tilt-a-whirl head scissors, and then sends her to the floor. Naomi follows up with a twisting plancha. Back from the break, Flair is firmly in control, and Naomi fights back. She rocks Flair with a kick and then a kick to the head, flying crossbody for a close near fall. Flair takes back over and slows the pace of the match down. Flair then misses a boot in the corner. Naomi kicks the leg and hits jawbreaker for a near fall. Flair then recovers and then manages to rock Naomi with hard chops, follows up with tilt-a-whirl, backbreaker for a near fall. Naomi fights back, hits a blockbuster for another close near fall. Flair follows up to the floor, and Naomi goes after her. Flair takes advantage and throws Naomi into the stairs to regain control. Back from the break, Flair then slows the pace down and gets chinlock. Flair then goes for a second tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but Naomi then reverses into the pin for near fall. She follows up with a springboard kick and then goes for close 2 count. Fans break into chanting for Naomi. Naomi then sends Flair into the middle turnbuckle, attempts a run of it. Flair counters into a powerbomb for a near fall. Moonsault, but Naomi rolls out of the way of that. Flair lands on her feet, goes for the standing moonsault, but Naomi gets her knees up. Naomi then hits a rear view for a close 2 count. Fans are reacting big to this near fall as well. And then Naomi goes for the split leg moonsault, but Flair gets to her feet again. Naomi recovers and hits a full Nelson bomb for another close 2 count. Naomi then hits a split-legged moonsault for a close near fall. Finish comes when Naomi hits a rear view again, but Flair knocks her down with a natural selection for the win. After the match, Sonya Deville gets in Naomi's face, but Naomi has heard enough and attacks Deville. Flair jumps back and helps Deville beat down Naomi. Ronda Rousey, music hits, huge pop. She sprints down to the ring and kicks Deville, catches Flair with body shots until she jumps out of the ring. Rousey takes down Deville and goes for the armbar on the good arm, but Flair pulls her off and gets in the ring. Rousey and Naomi watch Flair and Deville walk away from the chaos, and there we go. Ultimately, not a bad SmackDown, but a lot of filler in the middle. We'll be back with more right after this.